Michelle, when is a good time to start taking my dog to the dog park? Have you seen that question in my Facebook group, Puppy Training with Michele Lennon? Or maybe you were about to ask that question yourself. Well, I've got some important news to share with you today. I don't recommend dog parks. Not for your dog anyway. Wait, what? No, why not? Okay, well, and if it's not for your dog, who's it going to be for then, right? Don't worry, I'm going to explain all these confusing statements here. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about why I don't like dog parks and why a lot of other trainers and canine professionals feel the same way. But don't despair, dog parks do have some uses that you might find helpful as a dog owner. Now, I'm going to go over those today as well. You're going to want to hit that subscribe button because every week you're going to find a new video with more great tips on raising a dream dog. I've got answers to questions you didn't even know you had. Michelle here with How to Train a Dream Dog. Alright, so let's clarify here for a second how I feel about dog parks. I do have mixed feelings. I like the idea of a dog park. After all, it's a safe, enclosed place where you can meet another dog for a puppy playdate. That sounds like a great plan, in theory. But unfortunately, the way dog parks have evolved, they're usually not a great idea. I'm going to go into a few reasons why. Don't despair. I'm going to tell you what benefits you might get out of a dog park. And in a few weeks, I'm going to tell you how to set up great play dates without the downsides of the dog park. Now, if you don't subscribe, you're going to miss it. Hit that bell. All right, I'm going to start off with a list of dog park downsides. Number 1, disease and illness. There are a lot of potential diseases that your dog could pick up at the dog park. The first problem is that you don't even know the vaccination status of the dogs that are there. So they could be carrying diseases that their owner did not protect them against. And even if people had to show proof of vaccination before they could enter, well, that's usually only showing the rabies vaccine. There are a whole lot of other diseases that are going to ruin your day and maybe your wallet that your dog can easily pick up at the dog park. Now, you also don't know if the dog started showing some signs of illness recently that their owner didn't notice. You could tell a lot about a dog by watching his poo. But if you're not watching, you actually might miss it. In addition to other dogs carrying diseases, it's way too easy for a disease in the environment to spread, like parvo or giardia. Both of these illnesses are very serious and can cause a life-threatening sickness, or at the very least, a very expensive vet bill. Giardia is often found in standing water. There's usually standing water at the dog park because active dogs mean thirsty dogs. Dogs are quick to take a few drinks and soon you've got a sick pup. Your best effort to prevent it probably is not going to be fast enough for a thirsty dog. Some dog parks even have lakes or pools for dogs to play in. Water's a great activity for many dogs, but you really need to choose your bodies of water very carefully. Stagnant pool of water at the dog park makes it on my nope list. Leptospirosis is another disease that's commonly picked up from the water. The sound of that one sounds bad. You don't want your dog to go through that. Another downside to the dog park. Dogs who don't want to be there. Don't even get me started on this topic. We could be here all day. It actually drives me crazy to see dogs who are out in public who clearly would rather be at home, but their owners think they need to be out with other people, and even worse, other dogs. Hear me clearly on this next statement. It's okay if your dog is not fond of other dogs. Socialization does not only mean playing with other dogs. You can have a well-socialized dog who just prefers the company of other humans or cats. So at the dog park, if the puppy owner isn't really tuning into their dog's preferences, they might bring a dog who is not dog-friendly to the park, insisting he gets some socialization. Socialization really means your dog gets comfortable with all new things they're going to experience in this big wide world. Helping your dog have a healthy relationship with new things is the goal of exposure training. But that exposure training is about much, much more than just dogs. Yes, we want to help your dog not react negatively to other dogs if they happen to run into one. But if your dog says thanks but no thanks to a puppy playdate, that's his choice. Unfortunately, not all owners really pay attention to their dog's temperament, and they often come barreling into the dog park even if the dog is resistant or afraid. This will make the pup's fear even worse. Now, I have a great video on fear. If you think your dog is experiencing some of it, you can check that one out here. These fearful or stressed dogs and their oblivious owners do not create the dog park vibe that you're looking for. This would be like going to the playground with your child and encountering a child who's screaming, just screaming. You might be thinking, I'm sorry you're having a tough time, but we're actually trying to enjoy ourselves over here. Could you take that somewhere else? Unfortunately, canine body language is not well understood by a lot of dog owners. These signs of stress and discomfort in the dog are overlooked and even misunderstood. So the bottom line here is that if your dog isn't fond of other dogs, don't force it. That's what a lot of dog owners do at dog parks, and you'll get the short end of that stick if you go there. Now, another negative at the dog park, distracted owners. Many owners think that a benefit of the dog park is that they can just take their dog and let them run while they chat with other dog owners or check out their phones. I've even seen people pull out their laptops, get on a live Zoom, and totally be immersed in a phone call at the dog park. Do you think these owners are watching for appropriate dog behavior in their own dogs or others? Nope, nope, and nobody nope. Even if you're watching your dog, which is critical if you want to know what he's saying, others are probably not doing the same. This could quickly result in a fight, or at the very least, some behavior that you might not want your dog to copy. Now, if you're following my channel or progressing through my online course, you're probably working hard to train your dog. Don't lose your hard work by allowing him to pick up bad habits from other dogs. I've probably convinced you about the aversions of dog parks already, but I still have more to tell you about this. Let's talk about resource guarding. Did you know that all dog parks, any that understand canine science anyway, post signs that treats and toys and food and children are not allowed? And yet, you've probably seen tons of dogs with toys for fetching or chasing, treats or food during breaks, or even humans with food. These are all resources, and some of these are pretty high value to a dog. These items could easily cause conflict among dogs who've not been trained. Even dogs who have no resource guarding issues at home could get caught up in the excitement and start showing some really unwanted behaviors. Resource guarding is normal, but we train our dogs not to do it because it could lead to a safety issue. Don't undo all your training by exposing your dog to this unwanted behavior at the dog park. Now, if you're struggling with resource guarding in your dog, or you just want to be aware of the signals, you're going to love this video. In addition to under-socialized dogs, we often see dogs with a lot of pent-up energy at the dog park. I totally appreciate that these owners might want to let their dogs get out some energy, especially if they've been home all day while their owners have been out working. But a free-for-all with a bunch of other unruly dogs isn't really the best way to do it. It's so important that our dogs have a balance of mental and physical stimulation. Too much physical exercise alone creates an imbalance that might lead to some really frustrating behaviors for humans. Let's talk a little bit more about that mental stimulation. This part often gets overlooked when people just want to tire out their dog. Did you know that a dog's brain can process up to 40 times more information from a scent than a human brain? Our dogs are getting a lot from that sniffing, and allowing the dog to do it in a way where they can calmly take it all in and process it is important. Spoiler alert, that's not at the dog park. That's why we recommend decompression walks. They're great for dogs to do what dogs love, like sniffing and exploring and foraging. Yes, a hearty game of fetch or chase is great for the heart-pumping activity, and some dogs love to go for a run with their owners. That's fine too. Just don't let this be the only exercise they get. Be sure to build in enrichment, like puzzle toys and sniffy walks and shredding, or other species-specific activities that your dog loves. For a full explanation of decompression walks and all of its benefits and how to do it safely, add this video here to your watch list. Alright, so now you're probably thinking I'm a negative Nelly. Like I said, the idea of a dog park is a good one, but it's just become too much of a free-for-all to be a good idea in most places. But there are a few things that you can use the dog park for. Hint, most of these do not involve your dog. Now, it's great to hang out at a dog park as part of your research into getting a dog. You can start to notice patterns based on breed or breed characteristics. And as you probably saw in this video about how to pick a puppy, research on breed is important, but lineage is also important. I suggest you use breed as only one of the factors in understanding what traits your dog might have. Now, asking questions of other dog owners is a great way to figure out which breeds might have traits that you like. And you can even get good references for breeders or rescues. Just don't distract those other dog owners too much. Remember, they're supposed to be watching their dogs. Now, dog parks are a great place to study canine behavior. What do dogs look like when they're excited or scared or tired or overwhelmed or angry? Now, if you know a few signs to look for and you've had your puppy detective cap on, you're going to notice some really good information that you can use to interpret signs in your dog. Canine body language is a foreign language to humans, so it's important to learn a little bit of it if you're going to be a dog owner. That's not something I can teach you just today, but in my online course, we go into it in much more detail. Dog parks are a great place to meet other dog owners, to form a community of support. Now, if you live alone and you need someone to watch over your dog sometimes, it might be a good idea to find another dog owner. Now, if you watch how they interact with their dog and you like the dog's behavior, you might even want to set up a play date with their dog to see if he or she is going to be a good fit for your dog. I strongly recommend a 2 or 3 dog play date instead of a dog park. Now, if you subscribe to my channel, you're going to get notified when my video on puppy play date comes out in a few weeks. Finally, there is something you can do with your dog at the dog park. Exposure training. Dog parks are great places to go if you want to help your dog get used to seeing other dogs and remain calm. So you're going to go to the dog park at the back of the parking lot, away from the action. Then, as your dog watches other dogs from the car, offer tasty treats. We call this desensitization. Now, the key to do these sessions will be 1, at a distance, and 2, positively. You're going to want to remain far enough away that your dog is comfortable and curious, not afraid, and not overstimulated. We call that the threshold. And I go into a lot more detail in the video on fear I mentioned earlier. It's a fascinating concept that will play out regularly in your dog's life, so don't skip it. And you can learn a lot more about exposure training in this video. One more important tip on exposure training is to start when your dog is young, if you can. Do not wait until he's had his full set of vaccinations to begin this work. He will stay safe from illness or disease in your car or even in the corner of a parking lot. And this exposure is great for his developing brain. Did I convince you not to go to the dog park? Believe me, there may be some dog parks out there that are really great. Unfortunately, I just haven't found many. And I've had dogs for over 20 years. Instead of dog parks, I meet my dog's needs in different ways. We enjoy checking out new areas for decompression walks. We love to train together. We like inviting puppy friends over and just doing things together as a human canine family. It's a much safer and much more enjoyable way to meet my dog's mental and physical needs. So, I encourage you to skip the dog parks and have fun in other ways. I guarantee it'll be safer and more enjoyable for you and your dog. Alright, in the comments below, tell me if you learned something new about dog parks today.